This is Anita Peters interviewing Colonel W.E. Boyd at the First Baptist Church in Wewoka, Oklahoma on November the 18th, 1971. I think we'll just start out, Colonel Boyd, by asking you to tell us when you were born and where and why and when you came to Oklahoma. Just give us just general background.
I was born in 1886, and in Missouri. My native country was Missouri at that time, and we came to Oklahoma in 1898. And my parents settled just east of where Prague is now, over in Lincoln County. It was in Lincoln County on the line of the Indian Territory, on the line of Okmulgee. And then we moved to, we was there 1 year. My father rented land there and made a big crop 1 year. Then we moved down to Wewoka. No, I'm wrong right there. Wait a minute. Up there. And we moved over on the Seminole side in Indian Territory and took a lease. And he farmed that lease that year. And the next year we came to Wewoka. And I went to my last term of school in Wewoka at the old courthouse building. And Miss Ivy Cruz taught the school. If they ever had another school there, I don't know about it. It's all the one I know of because my father then, and that year, he purchased the land, the lot, at the First National Bank in 12 lots from the corner lot down, going south from the First National Bank. He secured the lumber and stuff and bought the property and started to build in the barn in 1901, a livery barn, where you rent out horses and buggies and what have you. And that fall, he was appointed United States Deputy Marshal under John Cordell. And the judge at that time was Judge Tate in Wewoka. He's a federal judge here at that time. So he wanted me to stay with him that winter and feed his cow and his horse, milk the cow and feed his horse, rather. And I lived with Judge Tate during the school months here in Wewoka. And then he sold in, I believe in December of that same, of 92, he secured some of that lumber in 1901 in the property. But he got his stuff on the ground and went to building. I think the biggest part of the barn was built in 1902. And that fall in December, he sold that barn and went back up in northeast Seminole County, near a place now called Little. Near a place called Little, and took a lease on, I think 3/4 section of land. Let me see where to go from there. Just off. We improved that, or he improved it, fenced it, and broke it out as all in raw land, and went to raising cattle, cotton, and corn, and what have you, and feed stuff. Then he didn't have that long till he sold it to Mr. Chastain, I believe. I believe he sold that lease Chastain and came back to Wewoka. And we lived around Wewoka practically ever since. biggest part of our lives, and the children all grown up here. I have one sister's born here in Wewoka, 1902. And I know right smart about I went to school, as I told you a while ago, in the old courthouse, and Miss Ivy Cruz was the teacher. Whether she ever taught there anymore or not, I don't know. While we was gone away that 2 years, I didn't ever know him anymore after I came back. And down here at the depot, they had a little 2-room building, and the Indian agent was on one end, and the conductor had a room in the other. It had 2 little room buildings. And according to my best knowledge, last 2 or 3 years I have found that building. Just kind of had a hankering to find it. It's just 2 rooms with the conductor, the agent in one and the Indian agent in the other. And their names, I knew them well, but I don't know their names now. I don't know who they were. But I found that little building, and it sits right across from the funeral home on the main street, going south, right across from Archie Stout's. You know where his place is? Well, it's right down here on the main street going south. And they've added some more rooms to it, of course. But Mr. Carker's an old-timer here. He's been here quite as long as I have, but Gene Aldridge was, which is deceased now. And me and him, I got him, took it up there and looked it over, and we've all 3 decided that's the building. And the old courthouse building is moved 1 block south, up here on the corner, right below the Archie Stout's funeral home. That's the old courthouse that I went to school in. Yeah, right there, but they're right side by side. I'll turn it over now.
You've seen a lot happen then in Wewoka from the time that you first came here, and what are some of the changes that you've seen take place, just in the general appearance of it? What were the streets like, and what were some of the stores? Do you remember? How's it changed?
The streets were all dirt when I came here. Didn't have any paved streets. And later years, of course, they did have. And I moved the first woman in here that ever opened up a hotel or a restaurant, place to eat. And she lived up here in the south end in a tent. Her name when she passed, when she deceased, was Floyd. Drew Floyd was her husband, but she'd been married twice before to a man by the name of Branham and one by the name of Reynolds. And she was a Brinchfield. She was Uncle Simp Brinchfield's oldest daughter. And his oldest boy was Frank Brinchfield, but she is older than Frank. They were 2 brothers come in here in an early day and lived out here around Butner. And Bud Brinchfield was law here for a number of years. He was Uncle George's boy. And this other one's Uncle Simp's boy. He had about 14 children, if I remember. But his brother just had 2. George. He had Bud and little Johnny. The governor had a big mercantile store here, had everything in it you wanted. He practically had the only store here them days. Oh yeah, big general store. That was Governor Brown, the governor of this tribe, the Seminole tribe. Yeah. He had a big store here, and Mr. A.M. Saran come here 7 years after, about 7 years later. He worked in that store for a number of years. A fine gentleman.
How did things like the oil and the depression, how did they affect the market?
What, hundreds of poor people here got rich with oil. It's some boom. We had about 11,000 people in Wewoka during that time. Now then, we got probably 5, I don't know, I don't be this that many, something like that. But well, it made a lot of poor people rich, the oil boom did. We had a pretty bad one back here in the WPA days, I guarantee you. Nobody couldn't get work, there wasn't nothing to do. And they set up federal and county, I guess, all together, set up what they called a PWA, but there's many people, one man could get to work 2 or 3 days, and he might have to quit and let somebody in for a little grocery bill. Let him work a few days. Them was bad days around here. Hard to get a hold of money if you didn't already have it. Mm-hmm. Oh, over half. Fully half or over of the people that was here then. Yeah.
I understand that you've seen quite a few different occupations. Why don't you tell us about some of them and just tell me some of the more outstanding things that you remember about each one.
Well, now that's the thing. I've just had one purpose in life all my life. That's to tell the truth as near as you know how and pay your just and honest debts. I don't owe anybody in this world an honest dollar today. I have owed a lot of them. I got them all paid. And that's the kind of a life I've tried to live. The Bible records it. Do unto others you wish to be done. And that's a mighty good way to stay. That's the way I've tried to live.
Would you like to tell us about when you were an auctioneer?
Better than 50 years. Yes, I've been an auctioneer since 1912.
Do you still do any, or what is the department of auctioneering?
Well, I don't try to handle any big sales anymore. I'm not able to go through with it. I've had some sales. I had three this fall up here. Just funny, just little stuff, you know,
yeah.
Household and what have you, dishes and things like that. But
when was the big peak of auctioneering, do you think, for you? When was there a lot of this sort of thing going on?
15, 20 years ago and all down the line. I had a lot of them. I sold a lot of livestock in my life.
Was it mainly livestock?
Mostly livestock. Where they have the auction sales. You've been to them, ain't you?
I've been to other auctions, but not livestock.
I see.
Usually it was household things.
Yeah. Well, I had 3 of them this last fall. That's about the height of it, lady. It isn't play party. We didn't call them dances them days very much. These kids are a little shy. We'd call them play parties, but the same thing. Always having a dance. Just sound a little different. Oh yeah, there's plenty of them had boyfriends and girlfriends all over. That's been in history all the days, ain't it? I would think. There's a lot of things that you would like to talk about that really you shouldn't talk about on account of getting somebody else's heresy. But anyhow, I've enjoyed my life. I've had a good life, and the Lord's been good to me. And I'm living with my second wife. I lost my first wife. She's a mother of my children. I've got 3 boys to live in, lost 2 daughters. Always wanted to raise a girl so bad. and I got three boys living, and they're all very, very nice to me. Very nice to me. I just couldn't have had a bunch of boys thought any more of their daddy, I don't think, than mine does. I'm not bragging. I've got nothing to crumb or growl about in that respect at all. And my second wife's in the hospital this evening over here. Pretty bad shape, I'm afraid. But I thought when I took her there, she might have heart trouble, but I don't think it is now. Doctor don't really think it is. And he thinks it might be a poison gas situation, I forget what to call it. But she's feeling a little better today. And my first wife died miles south of town when I worked for the city in 36, January of 36. And she was raised in Missouri, but not where I was. She was raised around Branson, down there on White River. You've heard of that, ain't you? It's where they have a lot of people go fishing and outing and all that stuff. On White River, that's a big river. And it really has a lot of fish. And it's just tourists all the way down there for several miles around there. Well, she was born and reared there. And them things is hard to take for a while till you get to, you finally get to where it don't bother you so much. If you've got a family, especially a wife, if you don't think right smart her, you oughtn't to have her, you'll get a wrong call. Well, I think a lot of both of my wives. And I think a lot of my kids, and they've all been good to me. And I ain't got a thing to worry about in that respect. And the Lord's been good to me. I think that's about all.